The world was not always shrouded in the gray, ashen skies that now blanket the horizon indefinitely. There used to be clear blue skies, the kind where sunlight danced through the leaves of trees, creating patterns on the ground below that children would try to catch between their fingers. That was long before the descent, a cataclysm of unknown origins that forced humanity to adapt or perish. In the small enclave known as Elysian Refuge, tucked away in what had once been a flourishing forest by the coastline, survivors congregated. Their lives, reduced to the bare essentials needed for survival, were centered around community efforts. Amidst these survivors was Alara, a young woman with hair as silver as the twilight clouds, who possessed an uncanny ability to navigate through the hazardous wastelands beyond the refuge. Her forays into the wilderness were not acts of rebellion, but of necessity. The enclave relied on scavenged supplies and resources, primarily located in abandoned cities where shadows held unseen dangers. To help her community, Alara often braved these perils, relying on her keen instincts and an old, dust-covered map she'd found in her grandfather's attic. It seemed to chart paths through areas less affected by radiation and other residual threats of the descent. On what came to be known as the Eventide Expedition, Alara stood at the threshold of the enclave with her small, trusted team. She looked back at the cluster of makeshift buildings that had been cobbled together from the ruins of the old world. Her gaze lingered on a young child, her sister Camila, her eyes large with a mix of fear and awe. Alara offered a reassuring smile, a silent promise of return, then turned away, facing the unknown. As days bled into nights, Alara and her team navigated through crumbling cities, overgrown with nature reclaiming its space, and down roads cracked and worn by the passage of time and neglect. They faced fleeting encounters with other groups, some hostile, desperate to guard their own caches of supplies. But Alara, equipped with not just weapons but empathy, often managed to negotiate passage or trades beneficial to both sides. It was in the dead heart of a once bustling metropolitan area that Alara and her team discovered an underground facility. Unmarked on any map, sealed away as though to protect, or perhaps imprison, its contents. Curiosity edged by necessity drove Alara to find an entrance. Inside, they discovered technology that hummed with life, lights flickering on at their touch. The facility, it turned out, was an old government bunker that had been experimenting with atmospheric purification technologies designed to reverse the poison that had invaded the air after the descent. The machines lay dormant, waiting for someone with enough knowledge or desperation to reactivate them. Amongst her team was an old engineer named Theo, whose shaking hands worked over the consoles with the expertise of yesteryear. Hours turned into days as they worked, decoding old manuals and rerouting power supplies. And then, with a shuddering groan that echoed through the silent chambers, the machines whirred to life. A deep vibration coursed through the facility, sending pulses of energy into the skies. Alara and her team emerged from the underground, squinting as they met a sight none of them had thought possible. The ashen clouds were parting, dissolving under the influence of the reactivated technology, revealing slivers of blue, pure and bright. Returning to Elysian Refuge, Alara recounted their journey and the hope it sparked. The news spread like wildfire, not just within her enclave, but to others, communicated through old radios and couriers, reuniting humanity in a common goal: restoration. Though the world remained a shadow of its former glory, the clearing skies symbolized a future that may once again be bright. Under these ever-lightening skies, Alara found her purpose not just in survival, but in leading the way toward regeneration. Despite knowing the road ahead was fraught with challenges, there as a glimmer of hope, a guiding star in the darkest of nights.